ambulance service. Is the patient breathing?
My name's Kim, I'm the ambulance crew, all right?
This is the Scottish Ambulance Service.
We genuinely get to make a difference in people's lives.
The job literally is life and death.
No needles or anything on them, though. There's nothing I would rather do than this.
Serving every one of us.
It's okay, love. It's all right, don't worry.
From Scotland's busiest cities to its wide open countryside. Wherever we have fallen, whatever has happened to us.
Need a hug?
Just feels she's gonna die.
But this is a service under extreme pressure.
We're constantly apologising to people.
Yeah, it's very busy down here.
Which we rely on like never before.
We're 2 shifts down in the Edinburgh and 3 in the Borders. Here we go, here we go, here we go!
On the front line and at the other end of the line.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Scotland's paramedics keep Scotland safe.
Breathe the gas!
And alive.
Help is coming, they're coming as fast as they can.
This time, a man is brought back to life in Edinburgh.
I think this was exactly the taxi I phoned for.
Paramedics face a challenging inflatable assault course.
Oh yeah, that's a first.
And a 92-year-old prepares herself for a trip to hospital.
Here's your comb, run that through the hair.
Across Scotland, the Scottish Ambulance Service's Special Operations Response Team handles some of the most critical 999 calls. Known as SORT, they are also called when a patient has been injured in a location that is difficult to access. SORT paramedics Dan and John are on the way to an incident involving a child.
So advice given so far is that there's a 13-year-old male. It sounds like he's got his hands stuck in a fence, but it's also advising that one of his fingers has come off.
So you've got a couple of thoughts going through your head. Initially, if it is a child missing a finger in a public area, it's a bit of a tricky one because you don't know if they've got bystanders, their family, are they on their own? What's the lead up to it?
It depends on the nature of how they've lost their finger. If the finger has been pulled into a machine, the finger can generally no longer be salvageable. You're really looking at sort of 6 hours without ice and the ability to cool the limb for it to be salvageable and potentially reattached. Just trying to pull up a better actual picture of where we're going on the map, because being a school and a park, it's obviously going to have lots of entrances and lots of fences. And the school had quite a lot of grounds, sports fields, a large car park in front of it.
So we're thinking access problems.
There's what looks like a running track which will have a fence around it, I'm assuming.
Is this back onto the school?
Yeah. And then there's also what looks like an AstroTurf, which is bound to be fenced off as well. Let me jump out. What's the gentleman's name?
Michal.
Just trying to really ascertain which one Michal was at first, because you're kind of looking for a screaming child who's lost a finger, crying, and that wasn't what we found.
Since the 999 call was made, the patient, Michal, has managed to free his hand from the fence, but is keeping it in an elevated position to help stem the bleeding.
Michal, how are you doing?
Good.
What's actually happened?
So a bit of meat and skin
Okay.
came off entirely off my finger.
Okay. So All right, so were you climbing up the fence and your hands got caught on the top and then you've fallen down? Okay. It was an unusual scene to arrive to because it was so calm.
Yeah.
I think because Mihal was so calm in his demeanour, the adults around managed to stay very calm as well. I think if a child's upset and distressed, that just feeds right into those trying to help, and then that creates quite a different sort of scene than we arrived to, which was quite unusual considering the injury that had occurred to Mihal. I think what we'll do, we'll get you out of here, we'll sit in the back of there, we'll get everything we need for it, we'll have a better look at it.
Until they can see the full extent of the injury, Dan and John do not know if they can save Mihal's finger. In Dalkeith, it is the first time that paramedic Scott and ambulance technician Kim have worked together.
So, good first shift for your new partner?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'll keep you right.
Should definitely keep me right.
They are going to be crewmates until Kim completes her paramedic training in a year's time.
It's a long time to spend with somebody.
Yeah, you've really got to get along with your partner. You need to trust them as well. My last shift partner, like, I knew what he was after without saying, like, I'm after that. So obviously you must have found that with your last partner. You've worked with each other for such a long time, like
5-6 years.
You just get into that habit of knowing what each other wants, when they want it, how they work. So it's exciting.
The pair will be working together for 12 hours on each shift. So it's important that they learn to tolerate each other's quirks.
I was like, either a door's just flew open or Scott's out that window there.
I've got to have a complex about opening the window then.
It's just the noise of the wind genuinely bugs me. And getting cold from one side.
Do you want me to put them both in?
No.
Sitting just south of Edinburgh, Dalkeith crews will change areas whenever needed to support an increase in demand. Today, Scott and Kim have been called to Leith. 79-year-old Marilyn has woken up with significant pain in her chest.
What's been happening this morning?
Just a pain.
See the pain that you've got just now? Would you be able to put a number on that out of 10?
100, not a 10.
It's okay, we'll get all that sorted. So where exactly is the pain? Can you show me? Just point to it.
It's just coming down through both shoulders, into my chest and into my tummy.
So Marilyn seemed distressed and in a lot of pain.
Yeah, I think there was concern. Obviously, she was complaining of 10 out of 10 chest pain, right in the centre of her chest. She was a high-risk patient as well.
Is it like a sharp pain or a dull pain?
It's constant.
There's a constant pain. And what time did that start this morning?
Well, I didn't feel that great when I first got up, but I thought it would pass.
Okay. And do you have any other medical problems?
Well, I'm on the list for a pacemaker.
For a pacemaker, no bother. We're just going to do this ECG, so just nice and still as you possibly can, just for 20 seconds or so.
An ECG is like a tracing of your heart, so we can see if there's any sort of cardiac events going on.
And they've never said what your heart condition is, no? If you're waiting for the pacemaker?
No.
No?
No.
Have you got any old discharge letters or anything handy that we could have a look at?
If you go into the kitchen and take the bottom drawer nearest the
I can do that.
and you'll get a record of.
Bottom drawer nearest the window.
If somebody's got heart conditions, then often they will have an ECG at home that's been left by either a crew or a doctor.
Oh, brilliant. So we've got some old ECGs.
So we were able to compare the old ECGs to what we were seeing when we arrived, just to see if this is actually her normal baseline for her ECG or if there's an acute change in her ECG.
Oh,
this is the new one?
This is, that's the new one. It's slightly different from the others.
Is it?
There looks like there is some really slight changes on this ECG from the previous ones you've got there. Okay. What we're going to do is, if it's okay with you, take you a trip up to the Royal. Just with this pain, you'll need to get some bloods taken. Right, so we'll take it from there, okay? That's okay. Right, I think we'll get you down to the ambulance and we'll have another look when we get down there, yeah?
Despite Marilyn's pain, she needs to make the journey to hospital. The ECG results suggest her condition could be worsening.
Are you okay with your feet like that? Wee bump.
On the outskirts of Glasgow, Dan and John are about to find out how much of Michael's finger has been pulled off. And just how bad the damage is to what remains.
You got a wee seat there.
Go sit there, mate. So I take it as like one of these little hooky bits at the top has caught on your finger?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there a lot of blood?
I bet the blood stopped.
Okay.
Will you look away?
Yeah, don't look if you don't want to.
Am I the worst injury you've had today?
You're the only injury today. It's few and far between that you get a patient so calm when something fairly major like that's happened, and especially at that age.
You playing football, right?
Yeah.
Any good? You any good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Keep talking to me.
Okay.
Try not to try, just ignore that. Why didn't you deal with that, right?
I've come across youngsters who have been relatively calm, but generally it's usually a detachment, a form of shock. They'll appear calm, but they're disengaged from the situation as a coping mechanism.
They're not actually aware of the situation.
Michal knew exactly what was going on. He was talking about it. If anything, he was joking about it to a certain degree, about telling his friends. Makes our job so much easier when you can just treat the injury rather than how you would really expect a 13-year-old to be in that set of circumstances.
Fortunately, an alert bystander picked up the severed finger and handed it to advanced practitioner Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wet it in some gauze and put it in a bag in some water. Bed back up, nice.
I take it it's fairly intact. That.
Yeah, it might be salvageable. Hence why I've gone with a red back up.
I haven't fully cleaned this yet, but it's a clean deglove by the look of it.
It looks brave as hell.
Pain's not too bad, sir, is it? Apart from when I'm fiddling with that tissue.
Yeah, when you're fiddling with that tissue.
That'll be the worst. But what we'll do, once the tissue is away, I'm just going to put it in something a lot cleaner and because what happens is this will stick to it, which is why it's a bit sore, and obviously we don't want that sticking to it.
We were left with essentially an intact digit, clean, looked to be the right length, looked to have no breaks on it. There was no obvious big issues.
We were optimistic that the tendons which are attached to the bone are still in place, so that it may be suggestive of movement being gained if the finger was salvageable.
I have a question.
Go on.
See this?
Yeah.
Can it be repaired?
Yeah. That's why we're getting you an ambulance now. My colleague who's down there at the normal van, he's got the bag that the lady's put it in, and he said that looks in good shape in there. It's in one piece, it's all intact, and they potentially will just stitch it straight back on. The condition of what's left looks in good, Nick.
Well done, Philip.
Show people that they're
That's a priority.
You'll have a good story to tell anyway.
You're too young to be showing folk a middle finger.
Do you know why I think this is clean? Because I had my ring on this. I had a ring.
So do you reckon your rings get caught as you've been climbing?
Yeah, and it just pulled
Caught it? Yeah.
pulled the skin off with it. So I think that's why it's in such perfect condition, is because the ring pulled and the skin pulled with the ring.
So here comes your ride, sir. Hiya. How you doing?
Before Michael is transferred to the ambulance, John updates his anxious parents.
He's doing well.
We'll be good. We'll be good.
I was saying I was incredibly impressed that he managed to not get blood on his t-shirt. Well, we'll get you into this ambulance, all right?
Michal must now hope that surgeons in Glasgow are able to reattach his finger. On average, the Scottish Ambulance Service receives a new call every 20 seconds. At one of the ambulance control centres in South Queensferry, call handlers ask a series of questions to create an accurate report of each incident.
Ambulance emergency. Is the patient breathing?
Is the patient awake?
Okay, tell me exactly what's happened here.
Dispatcher Amy is responsible for allocating ambulances depending on the severity of the call.
Yeah, good evening guys. Sorry to kick you straight out the door. I've had to put you onto this Amber call. This is a female having spasms for a few days now. They're worsening. She's also got chest, back and abdo pain with difficulty breathing over. Thanks, you out. The calls are colour-coded and that depends on the level of response that the call is to get. So it would start off with a yellow response, going up to an amber, a red response and then a purple response, red and purples being an immediately life-threatening call. 4225, you receive it. You've been auto-dispatched to a red call. This is a female. A car has drove over her leg. No other information at the moment. I'll keep you updated and I'll get police heading also. It feels like when we're sitting at the screen, you're doing 101 different things all at the same time. You can be on the phone to somebody whilst trying to put an ambulance crew out on a job, whilst also trying to send through details about the job. 3785, you receive him? Yeah guys, apologies, I've had to put you onto an Amber call, but it's just to make you aware, we do have a warning on the system for her, just advising it's not suitable for single crews. She can be verbally aggressive and occasionally physically aggressive. Are you guys happy to attend or do you want me to get police heading also? Yeah, no problem. I'll give the police a call and ask them to attend also. At the moment, I'd say there's definitely quite a large shortage of ambulance crews available on the road, whether that's down to sickness or just lack of staffing, but the increase in demand has jumped so high that it's very tricky. The calls that we are getting are non-stop. Yeah guys, apologies, I know you were overdue your rest period. I've had to put this red call through to you. He's having difficulty breathing, allergic reaction. I don't have any details as of yet as to what the reaction is to, but I will keep you updated whilst you're en route. It's very difficult sitting there knowing that there's absolutely nothing you can do, that you don't have the crews to send to these patients, and there are people who are desperately needing our help. Yeah, no worries at all. Thanks for that, guys. I'll leave you to it. Please come out. Don't really know how long of a wait that's going to be at the moment. Crews are tied up at hospital just now. There's major delays at the hospital, so it will just be the next crew that kind of clears, aren't due at a break or anything, that will get headed out to that one. It's a yellow call just now. There might be higher priority calls that come in that the crew might get taken for, so that could wait for hours.
Scott and Kim are preparing to take Marilyn to Edinburgh Royal Infirmary after she woke up with significant pain across her chest.
All your neighbours, yeah?
She is one of approximately 700,000 people in Scotland who are currently living with heart and circulatory diseases.
Just pop a wee blanket on this bed. Has that got any better or worse? Just the same. Just the same. Sometimes the journey can be 10-15 minutes as well, and you don't really want a patient travelling 10-15 minutes in 10 out of 10 pain, so it's, try and manage pain as best as we can before we get to hospital.
We'll just try and get this pain under control. Morphine sulfate 724. So this is just a painkiller now, okay? That's just 2 in.
Thank you, Stowe.
It's okay.
You're doing well.
Perfect, you've done perfect, that's it sorted. Is it all done? We'll get you all wrapped up. So Marilyn, this came on quite suddenly this morning, yeah? This chest pain. And you were at rest, weren't you?
You weren't doing anything at the time.
I was washing my dishes, that was all. Or sleustered about.
Aye, you weren't doing lots of exercise. Were you running a marathon?
No, I wasn't.
Alrighty, we'll get heading up there.
Yeah. Marilyn, what we're going to do, since you're really sore, so it'll be blue lights and stuff, but nothing to worry about. Try and just stay as relaxed as you can. Good stuff. Okay.
The journey to hospital will take 12 minutes.
How's that pain doing now that you've had some morphine?
It's a wee bit less in the chest.
That's good. Still in the stomach.
Still in bad there, aye.
And on a normal day, would you have pain in your stomach?
Yes, in the morning.
In the morning, she would.
It
Okay.
goes away.
Okay. But this pain in your chest and your shoulders, was that different today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It feels like there's a heavy weight sitting on my
That's
chest.
a really good description.
You've got to keep me going till August.
Oh, we'll keep you going till August, no problem.
I'm going to be a great granny.
Oh yeah, amazing.
A wee girl.
A wee girl. I've just got a 9-month-old wee girl.
Oh,
I've got 2 older girls, but a 9-month-old girl.
Oh, that's lovely.
We definitely do see a lot of sad things, a lot of horrific things, but at the same time I think the rewards you get from helping people, that can kind of outweigh that.
Okay, going down.
Every year, over 70,000 patients, like Marilyn, suffering from heart and circulatory diseases, are admitted to hospital in Scotland.
Marilyn, your bag will be behind you, okay?
She will undergo blood tests and hopefully learn what has caused her latest episode of chest pain. In the ambulance control centre in South Queensferry, Sarah is responsible for keeping an eye on the jobs coming in from across Scotland and deciding where resources are best placed.
It's constant problem solving. So you need to be aware of what jobs you have sitting on your screen. You might have a stroke, a difficulty breathing and a chest pain. And then you might only have one resource to send. Or they're coming off a break so they could go to that job. They're getting fueled, so once they're fueled up they can maybe go to that job. So it's constantly evolving. You constantly have to be on top of things and remembering where your crews are.
A job has just come in that requires Sarah's immediate attention. She is in touch with a local crew and has asked them to urgently make their way to the scene.
3870, this is a purple call. It's originally came through as a patient not conscious, not breathing.
So a purple call is our highest priority. We call it an immediately life-threatening call, ILT call. In that moment, that not conscious, not breathing is the top priority. So you then take a resource of something else to put it to that.
It's just been updated that it's a 20-day-old baby who's not breathing well, so unsure at the moment if the patient is breathing. Over.
The priority constantly changes depending on the information that you're being given. It can be really difficult to stay on top of, especially if you're taking a crew off someone that's having chest pain. I mean, they could be having a heart attack, they could really be needing an ambulance, but in that moment, the baby not conscious, not breathing is the higher priority call.
I think it's worth putting 3RU on that. But then it says not, oh no, patient is breathing. It's okay.
3RU stands for Rapid Response Resuscitation Unit. They are primarily sent to cardiac arrest calls. It's normally a single paramedic in a car, so they can normally get to things quicker than what crews can in ambulances.
Sarah is still in contact with the ambulance crew that are on the way to the job and is keeping them updated on the current situation.
3870, just to confirm, this call has recoded. Nope, it's gone back to purple. It's still for a 20-day-old female. She is breathing but is not conscious. Over. No problem at all, control out.
New information is coming in all the time. Sarah consults with her colleagues.
Do you think that needs an extra crew? Breathing stopped and starting is breathing just now. 20-day-old baby. (3870), just a further update on this job. There's a note came in saying that the patient's breathing was stopping and starting, but the patient is breathing just now. Over.
You never know what call's going to come in next. Is it going to be a baby in cardiac arrest? Is it going to be an RTC with 3-4 cars that might actually need 5 or 6 resources at it? But you're constantly thinking, you're constantly trying to problem solve, trying to find the best resource to send to any particular job.
As soon as the crew arrives on the scene, Sarah disconnects.
Perfect, thank you very much. Control out.
And moves on to the next job.
3480, I've popped you on this urgent job. It's for a 49-year-old male.
In Edinburgh, the Scottish Ambulance Services Special Operations Response Team are heading to an incident involving a child on the outskirts of the city.
So is this a child that's fallen from height?
The wee one's fallen 8 feet off this inflatable, and the crew are querying a humeral head.
There is already a crew on scene, but they need extra hands to help extricate the patient.
So the sort of injuries we were expecting would probably be neck or back. These are really common, especially on trampolines and air assault courses like that.
It can range from some absolutely miracle cases where people aren't injured at all, or the consequences can be sometimes quite tragic.
But I think there's always that worry, because you know how you would feel if that was your child that was lying injured. And sometimes, yeah, it can be gut-wrenching, and some of it can be quite emotional.
Yeah.
It is 5:30 in the afternoon, and leaving Edinburgh at rush hour presents its own challenges.
This is not the time that you want to be coming through Newbridge roundabout.
I certainly don't know.
Oh.
Just you keep coming, pal.
Why do you think they stopped? Oh, you boo-booed.
Go there. Go there. I think a lot of times people just panic. They see an emergency vehicle. I don't think it's out of badness or carelessness. I think they genuinely want to get out your road quickly. The best thing to do is pull over when it's safe to do so and let us negotiate you. We'll get round you. Just let us worry about that.
Oh, here we go.
Where are we going? That's the thing.
It's taking her straight on.
Straight on.
Hiya, have you reached the patient?
I can't see an ambulance either. Is there a crew here?
Meant to be.
Well, there's a crew here. So we're at the inflatable now. We're going on the bouncy castle.
Oh yeah, I see it. Right, we'll be away in 2 minutes. Oh,
Oh yeah. That's a first.
this is fab.
I know, right?
No fab for the injured person, but...
Aye, they're just up there by the looks of it, eh? It was massive. The bit where the child was, it was quite tall. I think most adults would be quite afraid to go on it. But then when we seen the crew on scene, it looked very calm. It definitely makes it a bit easier.
The young patient is being treated by paramedics where she landed. Fortunately, she is not badly injured. But Lee and Luke need to help the crew transfer her across the unstable inflatable and into the waiting ambulance.
What do you need for us, Scott?
So I think it's just for pretty much hands to get down. The cushion is so unstable, so she's jumped from there down to there. We managed to get Kirsty up and there's 4 members of staff around there making that stable.
Right.
But I think she's just maybe just a wee bit nervous. Do you want to maybe lift her from there down
To there, that's what I was thinking, aye.
Well, why don't you two get on here?
So if they come lengthwise, we can pass to yous and then Collins to there.
When we arrived on scene, the patient was already packaged up and it was just a case of passing the patient on the scoop stretcher down onto a different level and just making sure at all times that there was people surrounding and there was enough hands on the scoop stretcher to not make it wobble and not make the patient feel insecure on it.
So is it from here she's jumped?
No, so see above that green part,
Aye.
there's actually like a set that she's jumped off.
Aye, it's a fair height.
But she's been amazing.
Aye,
she's been
good.
amazing.
The crew are all in position. Now they are ready to lift the patient off the inflatable.
Right guys, hold the square nice and still. On you go, Kirsty. Yeah. We've got the board.
Okay. We'll just rest there and let everybody get off. There
How
we
are
go.
you?
Right, well,
There we go. So just
will we
get
come
yourselves
down?
off, girl, when you're ready.
The young patient is transferred to the waiting ambulance and will be taken to Edinburgh Royal Infirmary.
No, not at all.
I can't believe how bouncy that was.
Oh, it was really bouncy, wasn't
She
it?
was nice and light. If it had been something
I know.
heavier, that would have been a nightmare.
Another call.
Hi, you sort Lee speaking? Okay. What is it that's on fire? We're actually just clear here anyway. The wee girl's just been put in the back of the ambulance, so pop it through to 250 and 275 and we'll head.
What have we got?
It's a large fire.
Yeah.
There's no persons reported, but I think the fire service must have quite a lot of pumps at it.
Yeah. Another one.
Hi, Sort Lee speaking. All right. Right, fire away. That would be brilliant. I appreciate that. Thank you. Cheers. Bye. Bye. Scrub that. We are going to a firearms incident.
Okay, so where am I heading for 5?
Yeah.
Lee needs to contact the rest of her team to update them on the change of plan.
We've been diverted as another job came in. Could you update us when you get to the fire? If we're more needed back at the fire, we'll just double back. Everything comes in at the one time. It's just, you're trying to split up, like you've only got 3 motors, and you're trying to think, right, what incident's best to have the 2 at?
Yeah.
What incident's best, you know?
Managing specialist resources like this is a critical part of Lee's job.
Because we cover such a massive area, it can be quite challenging. So, for instance, if you're Swiftwater Rescue is away down in the borders and then another job comes in up in the central belt, you've got to try and allocate your resources like adequately and just try and stretch them out a bit.
Hi, you certainly speaking?
But sometimes these jobs can vanish as quickly as they come in.
Brilliant. Okay, that's great.
Right, over.
That's a stand down. Police have got hands on the mail, over.
Stand down, all received, 230, standing down.
With a stand down from the firearms job and the rest of the team dealing with the fire, Lee and Luke are able to make their way back to base. In the ambulance control centre in South Queensferry, call handler Jackie is taking 999 calls coming in from across Scotland.
Ambulance emergency, is the patient breathing? Okay, is the baby breathing? All right, is the patient awake?
The caller explains that their 10-month-old baby has been choking.
So when you get a call coming in from a parent of any child, but particularly a very young child, they're often really distressed. They just go into absolute panic mode, as any parent absolutely would. So our job really at that point is just to reassure and try and calm the parent down so that they can help us as well. Again, all about being our eyes in the room and relaying that information back to us. Tell me exactly what's happened. Okay. And you said that he's 10 months. Is it a girl or boy? Okay, is he completely alert? Is he breathing normally?
Jackie needs to get a clear picture of the situation quickly so that the best response can be calculated for this patient.
All right, it's like something's stuck. Okay, so is he breathing normally? Okay. What did he choke on?
While speaking to the young boy's mother, Jackie becomes aware that he is the screaming child she can hear in the background.
Hearing that cry when a child has choked or they're really distressed about something, having breathing difficulties, anything like that, even giving birth, as soon as you hear that cry, you're like, that's it, they're breathing. We can deal with this from here. Okay. I'm organising that help for you just now, okay? Stay on the line, I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
Call handlers use a system designed to prioritise calls based on answers received. In this instance, the decision is an ambulance is not required.
So at present, instead of an ambulance response, okay, what I'm going to do is have one of our clinical advisors give you a call back with some further advice, all right? This little one was choking. However, we heard the cry, and at that time it's decided that it's maybe not requiring an emergency ambulance that needs to be there straight away. We've removed the object and baby's breathing. It will go through to our clinical team. So our clinical team will then have another wee chat with mum and decide on the next steps from there. Is it something that mum could pop down to the doctor's surgery or pop the wee one down to hospital just to get them checked over further, so it frees up a crew for something else that's maybe a bit more serious. Now I want you to keep this phone line free, but if his condition does get worse in any way, please call us back immediately on 999, okay? Okay, thank you now, thanks, bye bye. God, I thought that bairn was dying. It's always good to hear a baby screaming when they're choking though.
Kim and Scott have both recently had babies of their own. But with long shifts and unsociable hours, it can be difficult to juggle the job with family life.
So unfortunately Sky will be in bed when I get in.
Same.
It's quite sad.
That is when you leave in the morning and they're sleeping, then you get home at night and they're sleeping.
Yeah.
And then potentially you've got that whole thing to do again. Yeah, it's horrible.
Scott and Kim have just dropped off a patient at a hospital and are making their way back towards Dalkeith.
You got your piece in there?
I really wanted him because I had a piece up before I left, so...
How were you skinny?
Am I skinny?
Yeah, that's just not fair.
Yeah.
Should be last night, pizza the night.
Honestly...
Muscle bra for a 92-year-old chest pain. The chest pain night.
Looks like it, yeah. We must go to at least one chest pain a shift though, eh?
For sure.
Chest pain could be a number of causes. It could be a respiratory cause, it can be a cardiac cause. Obviously we worry about it being a cardiac cause.
I think it's like in there.
Yeah, it's just showing right hand side there, isn't it?
Extreme caution. Castora.
Stay. Hello.
Hi.
Right, so I'll let you tell me the story to what's happened tonight then.
Well, a week past Thursday, I fell out of the bed.
Okay.
I had a pain right down and it was all around my neck
Okay.
and all around my side.
And did you go to the hospital after that?
No,
Whereabout is the pain exactly? Can you point to it?
I feel that the pain must have been out on the outside when I got it done, but then I felt it went into my chest and
And was that tonight? It was in your chest?
chest.
And,
Aye.
and is the pain still there just now?
And it's no so bad, darling.
It's still something?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
She wasn't able to describe how the pain was, so that's quite important for us to know a description of the pain, whether it's heavy or if it's sharp.
Right, so first I'll have a wee listen to your chest, okay? So if you can take some nice deep breaths just in and out. Perfect. Was it sore when you took a breath there?
Not too bad, but it's been sore again.
Okay.
All right.
You're no a nuisance. Do you mind if Kim sticks lots of stickers around your chest just to check what your heart's doing?
You're all right sitting there. I'll just walk around you, all right?
And I'll just check your blood pressure.
Oh, that's hard.
Is it?
I shouldn't have been in 92 anyway.
You're still looking fab. You've got plenty of layers on anyway.
Oh, they'll go into.
We do see a lot of elderly patients and it's really nice sort of seeing them in a happy mood, although they have got this pain, this discomfort. It's like the minute they see an ambulance crew walking in, it's almost like a sense of relief.
That's it there, 172.
What do you say?
172 for your blood pressure.
Oh, that's right and doing.
That's right and doing.
Oh, that's it good, is it?
Wow. Right, so I'm going to run this ECG, so you just need to stay quiet just for about a minute.
Before we even print that off, I can see there's a slight abnormality on our ECG anyway, so it's going to be a trip up to the hospital. That abnormality in particular was the left bundle branch block, which is just basically a blockage or a disruption to the electrical pathway in the heart, which can lead to further complications.
We're unaware if this was already a known abnormality for Jessie, so it's definitely something that needs to get investigated.
Ultimately, for chest pain, the definitive diagnosis is a blood test at hospital.
So, I'll tell you where we are with things. Your ECG's showing an abnormality. What we'll need to do is we'll need to pop you up to hospital and...
Oh, I'm not want to go to hospital, son.
Okay. We would strongly advise that you come up with us and get checked over up there. It's the best thing to do and it'll give you peace of mind as well. Because I think if we were to go away now, you'd just be worrying about it.
You look sensible enough. Oh,
Is that all right?
Yeah, I think when it's your heart...
If it was my granny, I'd be wanting you to go.
Oh, granny, I didn't usually get called a granny.
There we go.
My granny's 90.
I'm 90.
You've got a couple of years on her, aye? So is that okay with you?
Up to date. Only you get a different clothes on.
How's that?
Oh,
You don't need to get dressed up for
Where
it.
are you going, like? Who are you
You're not
going
going for a night out.
Who are you trying to impress?
Here's your comb, run that through the hair.
I think it's common for elderly people to like getting treated in their own home rather than having to go to hospital.
There's some anxiety about leaving their house as well.
So Kim's just coming with a chair. Will I give you a wee hand up? You can just hold on to my elbows, or are you all right standing? Right, come towards me. It's okay. Won't go backwards.
You're the fog, eh?
I know.
We'll not let you fall.
That's you.
I love my job, getting to see different people every day, getting to help people, especially when they're at their most vulnerable, their sickest, and being able to sort of feel like you've made a sort of impact on their life.
Kim and Scott will take Jessie to Edinburgh Royal Infirmary, where doctors will hopefully get to the bottom of what has been causing her chest pain.
Just grab that door. Right, we'll go up.
Tally ho.
Second one then.
In Edinburgh, it's been a busy Saturday night for the Scottish Ambulance Service.
We've got the pressures of patients waiting a long time for an ambulance. We've got the pressures of hospital wait times as well. So I think recently there has been an increased stress for staff in the ambulance service.
Scott and Kim have been asked to remain in the city to help ease the workload.
That is unbelievable. 1:45 in the morning.
They've just finished 4 jobs in a row, and if there are no urgent calls waiting, they should get back to base for a well-earned rest.
Oh, come on!
Hey, let's do this. We're going to a patient who's been waiting since almost 4 o'clock.
Wow.
It looks like it's been upgraded, to be honest. Like almost 9 hours he's waited. That's crazy.
Just as Scott and Kim are making their way towards this patient, they are diverted to someone who needs more urgent care.
So we're going to Broomhouse.
Broomhouse?
Yeah, for a 38-year-old male. So we're getting again.
A call for a person with an immediate threat to life has just come in. This job is of the highest priority, and Scott and Kim are the closest crew.
Whatever job you're currently attending, if there's one that comes in that's more serious, that supersedes the call you're on, then you get diverted to that.
999 mode activated.
These police are going to be like pulling us over. Like,
What are these guys up to?
Jesus, are you lost? I have no idea where this is.
Oh, I think. Do you know that little bit that goes under the bridge?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right, under the bridge.
Oh, there we go.
Scott and Kim are met on scene by an off-duty nurse who was making her way home when she found a man lying unresponsive on the ground.
equivalent with, to be honest. Yeah. What's happened?
I've been on the phone down that said no to start CPR with him. His stomach's kind of rising and falling. Every so often he's breathing and then he's stopping again.
His ventilations are quite slow.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I think he was only breathing about 6 a minute. He was unresponsive. His pupils were pinpoint as well. So these are all good sort of indications that the patient has taken an overdose.
I would get oxygen and maybe Narcan.
Kim asked Scott to prepare naloxone, also known as Narcan, which will reverse a drug overdose from opiates such as morphine and heroin.
You say he's had ketamine, has he had anything else? So just alcohol and ketamine? Yeah.
While naloxone would not reverse the effects of a non-opioid drug like ketamine, Kim cannot be 100% sure this is all the patient has taken.
You alright? I can see you. Starting to open your eyes a wee bit more. You going to wake up for us? Yeah? What's happened?
Just got to get a wee jag there.
Kim attempts to get more information from the patient's partner.
Are you able to sort of tell us what happened? Did he have a seizure? You can't remember? No worries.
Although it's the height of summer, the ground is cold, and the crew need to get the patient up and into the ambulance.
Wait there a wee second, all right? We'll give you a hand getting up.
Can we get you up?
I'll grab a scoop, eh? Because I think we're going to be
I think we're going to, yeah.
Yeah.
You all right?
The patient is still unable to stand up. Scott collects the scoop stretcher from the ambulance.
Right, bottoms in.
Come back to life now.
You're coming back a wee bit. It's nice to see. We're just putting some straps on you so you didn't fall off of this scoop, all right? We'll get a wee chat once we're in the ambulance, get you off this cold floor.
Thank you.
No worries. Oh, brilliant. Thanks for stopping.
Thanks for your help, guys.
Right, bit bumpy here. It's these cobbles.
The patient may have become more responsive, but Scott and Kim are still struggling to get a full picture of what has happened. And so is he.
Let's go up.
What's going on?
Yeah, we're not really sure what's happened either.
I broke my legs.
No?
No.
I broke my arms.
Do you want to talk to us first and see what's been sort of going on?
Yeah.
Right, let me get these straps off you.
I'm just starting now to come back to normality.
What's sort of happened tonight? Because you've had alcohol. I think someone said you had ketamine. Is that right?
Aye.
Yeah.
That's what's happened.
Is it? Did you think you took a bit too much?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much did you take? Can you remember or?
Haven't a clue.
Haven't a clue.
I'm starting to try to figure out that I'm actually alive.
You're alive. You're in an ambulance, yeah? Do you know what day it is?
My teeth.
You've got your teeth there. Oh, your teeth are there. So nobody's punched you. I'm just going to pop this in your ear, alright?
Sound.
When we did sort of get chatting to him, he did say there was no opiate use there, whether or not that was the truth or not.
Yeah, he said it was ketamine, but the drug would have been bought in the street, so I'm sure the patient's not actually 100% what he's taken, but we seen our response to the naloxone.
Will we take him off that scoop?
Yeah.
Maybe a bit comfier. We'll take you off this yellow board that's underneath you, alright?
Alright.
So you just stay there.
Do what you want.
Bottom's out.
Is it? That was quite fast, eh? I think you might need to push that one up.
I think this was exactly the taxi I phoned for.
Well, this taxi will be going to the hospital.
I need to take me to the hospital, like I'll be alright.
Well, you couldn't even stand outside. And plus, if you've taken something that you don't know where it came from, and it's gave you a bad reaction, we really should take you to the hospital.
No, I'm not staying in the hospital. I signed myself out the last time I was in.
Well, that's fine, but I'm saying right now you can't even walk, can you? You couldn't even stand up.
I'm a wee bit tipsy, because I've had quite a wee bit to drink.
Despite his reluctance, Kim manages to persuade the patient to get checked over at hospital on this occasion.
Let's see if we can pop this down and you put your seatbelt on. Right, we're good to go.
I think he was having a good night. I think he was maybe at a party or something like that. And he was a nice gentleman. He was apologising for taking the overdose. And that's fine, yeah, we're happy enough with that.
By the way, thank you, and thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Drug deaths in Scotland are nearly 4 times higher than the other nations of the UK. Thankfully, this patient has avoided becoming one of those statistics.
Right, let's get back for break.